Welcome to the ProBrick exclusive YouTube channel with ProBricky, otherwise known as Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist. We're doing a response video on breakups are a big problem for the dumper. I found this fascinating, this video. We're about 4 minutes in and I've done a 30-minute talk already. Let's just see what happens here and we'll go from there.
Or the repercussions or the potential fallout or the side effects of the breakup. And maybe they have been the dumper in every relationship beforehand. But here's the thing about human beings, guys. We don't actually remember pain.
Well, we do, because in the last response video I talked about how I took a girl to the pictures in 6th class and she didn't want nothing to do with me after it. I know about pain. We all know about pain.
Try to remember back to a time where you hurt yourself physically, you broke your arm or something. You know that you remember that it sucked, but you don't actually remember the pain. And it's just
that is absolutely 100% not true. We used to ride our pushies when we were little. I remember coming down the street and doing a skid in front of me mum and everyone. Everyone was out the front. Look at this skid. I'm fucking skidding down the street. And I've skidded out. That means the bike's done a pretty good skid, like skid. And the bike's gone out from underneath me and I've fallen down onto the road and just skidded. Man, I had skin off me everywhere. Another time, the lady across the road, Auntie Lucy we used to call her, she was a cool old lady, and we used to jump kids right off her gutter. She had this really strange gutter and you could come flying down the street and we'd line all the young kids up and we'd jump them. Well, one day I was practicing and I'm trying to get past this tree, and Auntie Lucy was on a veranda, which was up to the first floor of her place. I've come flying down the street. I didn't know she was there. I've done this jump, right? It was a good jump, but I've gone into the tree, through the side of the tree, out into the driveway and into the gutter. I'm only about 11 years old and fucking just destroyed myself. And Auntie Lucy came down and dug me up off the road. They patched me up. Took weeks to get better. Can't tell you how many times the chain came off me treadly and I stubbed me toe. All the skateboarding accidents, billy cart accidents. Oh, look, come on, guys. Come on. Then the major accidents like a motorcycle accident, work accidents, nearly chopped me fingers off, back operations, broken legs, plates in me wrists. Oh, mate, really? Honestly? I don't know, man, what's going on here.
same with emotional pain. And I know with my last breakup, it sucked balls. But I can't really remember the pain. I can't really remember that physical feeling that I had.
Fucking I can. See, this is how I deal with the breakup, right? I go, this is the problem. I present the problem to the woman, right? I got no fear of it. You present the problem. They go, okay. And then I wait to see if anything's going to be done about it. You got to be gracious and give people time to face the challenge. And I'm bloody sure if somebody tells me something's a problem and it's legit, I will fix it straight away. Yeah, but a lot of these people won't. And that means they've got more value for the problem than they have for you. You've got to understand that. If there's a problem, okay, if you're a woman, right? You're a woman and the husband smokes drugs. Now, you signed up for that, so you've really got no right to judge it. Or the husband drinks. You signed up for that, but you didn't sign up for the erection dysfunction, did you? Can't fix that now. What caused that? Not the woman, the alcohol and the drugs. But who pays for it? The woman. How can we fix it? They take you to the doctor. They take you around like a child trying to fix your ED. But you can't fix it because you've screwed yourself up because you haven't looked after yourself. And the next minute, the wife's on the prowl for some dick. While you're sitting there wondering why you, with a drink in your hand and probably a bong in your hand and a smoke in your hand, wondering why you can't get a fat. People will tolerate so much. And then human nature, human instinct will not be subject to moral. When the pressures, I'm telling you as a minister, when the pressures, I have seen this so many times. Oh, the loveliest people in the world. No, butter wouldn't melt in their mouth until something's going on that they can't handle. And then what? Who the hell is that? They go from an angel to a demon, and you have got no way of stopping it. You cannot change or stop what's happening to this person. I have seen people that have had, 1 minute they've had the happiest family in the world, just to watch it be pulled apart overnight, totally destroyed by immoral decision making, by lust and things like this that was just simmering under the surface. Another thing is, if you push someone far enough for long enough, they'll just do wrong. They will just do wrong. No matter how hard they try, they will do wrong. That's human nature. Not very many people have the value for another person enough to really play a fair and straight game in a relationship. Not many. That's why the divorce rates are so high inside and outside the church. You know, some people just get dumped because of somebody else's lust. They haven't done anything wrong. You could be married for 20 years and come home one day and your missus is in bed with somebody else and he's patting your dog. And as a matter of fact, he's been around so long you didn't know, he's skitching your dog onto you. Get him, Rover. This is human nature, man. And you have to be aware of how evil and destructive human nature can be. How on earth could you dump someone and have any regret whatsoever? Really? Man, I come home and my first wife had met some bloke. I ended up counselling the bloke a couple of years later, just briefly. He was never going to make it. And the next bloke after that. Actually, I was friends with both of them after I got to know them through knowing her. And she had 3 kids to one of them, and I had a lot of time for those children, and still do. They every now and then they'll come and swim here in the pool, and you know, I'm not an unforgiving person, but when you dump someone, you dump someone. That's it. That's all there is to it. You know, if they're not going to make amends and bring resolve, you've got to move on, man. And lady, I tell you what, the women are much more tougher than the men. Oh, goodness me, I've never seen the lack of mercy women have when they go about what they want to do, man. There is no mercy whatsoever. They just do what they got to do. They don't give a crap who gets hurt, what damage is done, what gets lost, how much it cost. They don't give a crap, man. Really, they don't. They just get on with what they got to do. And how do you learn all this? Well, hopefully not experientially, because you would not believe how easily the devil or Satan or his cronies can pull apart a family. He can pull apart, if he sets his mind to it. None of us, for the majority of us, are equipped to be able to stop him ruining whatever. I have seen him ruin families that you would not believe, just easily. and relentlessly and without mercy, and he always goes for the woman. He knows what he's doing. Do you? Might be the question. Oh, yes, we're doing a response video. Sorry.
So, what I want you to do now is really try to think about that. Okay, do I remember what that pain felt like? And this is what the dumper's going through. So when you give them...
Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, guys. Tell me that you can't remember when you've been hurt. Tell me. You can't remember. What are you, cognitive dissident? You just choose, what, are you in denial? He's talking about denial, man. I can remember we were 12 years old and we used to take the local girls riding on our motorbikes, and there was, the usual ones that you'd knock around with and, have fun with. And then one day this ring-in come along, really good sort, and I landed her. And we had a great time together, man. You got no idea. We had a great time. We're only young, man. We were 12 years old. We used to ride our motorbikes, pretend we were an Easy Rider. We'd have denim jeans on and black T-shirts and denim jackets. And, we just blad around on our bikes. It was fantastic, man. If I could go back to those days, I tell you. And we had the girls, they'd come riding with us and they'd pack little sandwiches and we'd, make out. And, it was, man, this went on for years. Anyway, this bird come along and, we just hit it off. Big time. Right? And she just disappeared again as quickly as she came. How do you make sense of that? How do you reason with that? Of course you remember the pain, right? Of course you remember the pain. I know there's girls that, that I got with at school socials and things, and I'm sure they'd remember the pain. Because I had no intention of making anything serious out of it all. We were just lucky with the girls, man. It was just growing up. But I remember all the pain that I got and the pain that I gave. And those early years are what set you up for later in life when you start to play with the big guns. The ones that really, aren't going to be able to get their act together and don't care. I talk to all my exes except for one who stole money, and that's a different level. I'm not really going to be dealing with that crap. No. And she got off. I could have got her in a lot of trouble, but she got off. We're forgiving people in that sense, I suppose. But of course I remember the pain. I remember the pain coming home, picking up the phone and the missus on the phone to another bloke. I remember the pain. What else was there? There was stacks of Sheilas. There was too many actually to... I remember the pain of one girl. We used hooked up in the school holidays for 2 weeks straight. 14 years old. We just got it on, man. And we didn't know. We were just growing up. Well, she got in trouble off her mum, and that was the end of that. All I remember is her crying because she couldn't come back. We remember the pain. Do you remember the pain? Or are you just in denial? I'm not trying to contradict this guy, right? I'm not. I'm not. But from my experience, I don't know who he's trying to reach or who he's talking about, man. Honestly, I don't. I just don't. I might sound like I don't care for the people that have come. Man, I have opened my doors and my heart to these people. Honestly, you can ask them yourselves. They can stand there and say, they'll have to tell you the truth. They'll have to. There's no other thing but the truth. I really take pride in the person that I'm with. But if they start dying in the arse, what are you supposed to do? Just wipe their ass? Wipe the unresolved on their bum? No. You warn them about the problem. You give them grace to try and fix it. And if they're not going to fix it, they value the problem more than they value you. Oh no, they're too scared. Oh, no. No. If you love someone, man, and they're telling you this ain't right and they ain't going to fix it, they don't love you. They don't love you the way that love works. They're trying you. They're testing you. And unfortunately, it can end bad for everyone.
Them the gift of your silence, when you remove yourself from the equation, when you do everything opposite of what they expect of you.
Oh, for goodness sake. People are making money out of this shit. When you split up with someone, this is what I've said to you. 9 out of 10 of them will go silent. People don't like getting dumped. A lot of people are going to think you're an arsehole for dumping them, whether you're male or female. I can't see the point in chasing people. Why would you chase someone if you've dumped them? Like, are we in our right minds? Silence, that's what you want. You've had time to try and get resolve. It wasn't going to come. It wasn't going to happen. Silence is the best thing for everybody to be able to move on. Don't forget our covert emotional incest series. Wow, there's some shorts. They haven't even been watched yet. I don't think they're released, actually. They might. Well, they are, aren't they? We worked in with each other. We were spiritually aware of each other, emotionally aware of each other. But as soon as covert emotional incest stepped up, it was over in a week and a half, and I never heard from that woman again. There you go. There's a little bit of an insight. Back to this video.
Because they're expecting you to chase. They're expecting you to beg, plead.
Oh, this is bloody high school stuff. This is, even in high school, man, you knew that those people had individual minds of their own. Oh, God, honestly.
They're expecting you to be dramatic. And you're not doing that. You're flipping it on its head. And there is a saying.
Man, I'll tell you something. Let me tell you something. I split up with a girlfriend, I don't know, some way back, right? In between some rubbish and garbage. I just said, can't do this. So you'd meet these Sheilas. You'd meet these, one Sheila, right? I'm kiteboarding. This is dead set. I'm kiteboarding. And she was a nice lady, actually. She just had too much going on for what I was able to cope with the children. But kiteboarding out in the ocean, spotted this lady walking along with another chick. I've come raw, because kiteboarding's a spectacle. I've gone, man, she's hot. I've come in on the kiteboard and gone up to her. And I gave her my number. She took my number. That night, we were on. It was on for young and old. It didn't work out. I said, I don't want to see you anymore. Went on for, a week or so, but then I got to see she had people in jail and all this. So I'm thinking, fuck this, I'm not dealing with this. But she was hot, man. She was a really nice, attractive, nice lady. And no. But could you imagine that? If you see, forget about the dating sites, man. If you go up to somebody and they've got a boyfriend or a husband, they'll tell you. I went up to a Sheila once and said, how you doing and do you want to date? And she goes, I'm married. I've gone shivers. You blindsided me. You haven't got a wedding ring on. Oh, she goes, oh yeah, well, sorry about that. And I thought, fuck you, I just validated you and no. So there's all sorts of different scenarios that can happen. Another one, asked this Sheila what she thought about the prices in the shops and blah, blah, blah. Do you want to get an ice cream? We got an ice cream. We're in bed together within an hour. I don't understand how that works, but I'm just telling you. But it didn't work out. I never heard from her again. Does that mean it didn't work? Well, it all went well, but she probably went back to her ex. Some people just want an outlet sometimes. And if you cross their path at that time and that moment, then that's what's going to happen. But I don't know why you think I'm going to be texting them and harassing. No, guys. If somebody wants you, they will come to you. Right? If somebody doesn't want you, they ain't coming. If you dump somebody and you think that's going to make them be more attracted to you, you need help, man. You need to go and get help. You're mixed up. You're not right. You need to get alignment and some kind of treatment and understand that if you tell someone to go, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go. That's it. And I come back to the fact you're not as important as you think to that person. Yeah, you are an important person, and you're unique, and there's no one else like you, and all that. But when it comes to the dating game and your market value and all that, man, you're not as valuable as you think. You're just not. You're not as important as you think. You're dealing with human nature, and human nature by nature bends towards evil, and evil has everything to do with the opposite of good. And women are susceptible to this. Man, you could be the greatest thing that woman's ever seen or laid eyes on or could ever want one day, and she might not want to know you the next. It's just the way that it goes, man. It's just the way that it goes.
And I've said it before. When your enemies are making mistakes, don't interrupt them. Now, I don't want you to...
No, wait a minute, guys. That's crap. If your missus is making a mistake, you got to tell her. Oh, you've got to just say, look, this situation... so-and-so and such, for instance. So one day me and my ex-wife were walking along the waterfront, and a friend of mine from church needed a tap fixed on the front of a caravan. And she knew I was a handy bloke. She said, Jace, could you just quickly help me fix this tap on my caravan, because I'm going out to the Northern Territory in 2 days. And I've gone, sure. So I said, so-and-so, this is so-and-so. And she just walked off. My wife walked off, and I thought, you rude. That was the rudest thing I've ever had anybody do to me, considering that I treated her friends with respect. Well, I just said to Joe, can you hang on a minute? Excuse me, sorry about that. And Joe looked at me as if to say, what on earth? Who on earth is that? She didn't know it was my wife. I've gone down and I've said to her, what the hell? What's going on there? I mean, don't ever do that to me again. But she couldn't have cared less. Oh, mate, I've seen some terrible things from women. And I ended up having to kick her out. I ended up kicking my own wife out of our house through just appalling behaviour, wicked, horrible, evil behaviour, and still said that she loved me. And then turned the joint upside down and sent me a text message saying, I'm so sorry for what I have done and what my children have done to you. Now, am I going to sit there and cry, or I'm just going to sit there and go, how the hell did that happen? But it happened. And you've got to punch on, man. You've just got to keep kicking on. It's not that you're heartless or you don't feel anything or nothing. So I went and got therapy. Right? I had to accept what happened. I kicked her out. But I kicked her out on the premise of her evil that she did not want to resolve. She did not want to resolve it. And when you mix adult children in with that aren't your own, that are just not going to cooperate anywhere, that woman had no chance. She's ended up all on her own and not well, and She's had several operations since, and it's very, very sad, you know, particularly for the older women when they hit their 50s and they meet someone that cares, and the next thing you've got, you know, real evil little children that have no comprehension of their mother's needs and focus on their own, and the next thing you're going, oh, look, I'm not tolerating this, you know, and then you're dumping them. You just got to let them go. You can't have remorse when you do that. And if that person doesn't want to come and renegotiate terms and, you know, be fair income and sort it out, it's because they don't want to sort it out and they can't sort it out. So it is what it is, and you lose out. So if you dump someone, man, and you haven't gone through the phases that you need to before that happens, the fair ones, not covert ones where the other person doesn't know what's going on, right? No. You've got to say this needs to be resolved. If they're not listening to you, man, they're not listening. And then you hit them with, I've fucking had enough of this. You're out. It's no good them either standing there with a blank look on their face. You know, it's no good you standing there with a blank look on your face if your woman's told you to slow up on the drinking and you haven't, and you're sitting there with a bottle in your hand and she goes, I'm leaving. Because the unresolved was more important to you than the resolve. Guys, honestly, man, it is hell. You're dealing with evil and all that comes with it. If you dump someone, you better know what you've done. Because 9 out of 10, 99.9% of them will go silent and won't want to speak to you again. Because they haven't got the attributes and character to deal with what needed to be dealt with, and they know they're defeated. It's finished. It's over. I can't go back to that person because I can't deal with what they need from me. I had one lady say I'm not worthy. She was worthy, all right, and all the rest of it. She just didn't want to fix the problems. A relationship will only go as far as the weakest link. And that's where it'll break. And unfortunately, in these times and these days, the links are getting weaker and the relationships are breaking 100 times more often, and the rates are accelerating in the negative.
Consider your ex the enemy, but don't interrupt them if they're making mistakes. Don't interrupt.
Oh my goodness. Don't confront the issue. Don't tell the person there's a problem. That's the worst thing you can do, guys.
Interrupt them if they are monkey branching. Don't interrupt them if they are rebounding. Don't interrupt them if they have convinced themselves that this breakup is the best thing for them. Now, disclaimer.
Is he talking about the dumper or something?
Guys, maybe it is the best thing. Some relationships are meant to end. Some relationships should never have existed. And you will know deep down with your personal situation if that's true or not. You will know deep down if you were ever truly compatible with each other.
Well, that's a hard one in a way, because I've been in several relationships that well and easily could have worked. Easily, well, actually were working. Right? But didn't work because of the unresolved. There was issues that just were not going to be resolved. So was it meant to be? Yeah, it was meant to be to that point. Could it have been? Yeah, 100% it could have been if the other person or myself had dealt with what needed to be dealt with. A lot of relationships are lost primarily to negligence. Nothing else. It's negligence on the part of one or the other. And that's where relationships are going down the tubes, because people aren't having enough respect for the other person to resolve the things that need to be resolved. Now, I've done it again. We're only 6 minutes in and I've gone on for half an hour. So subscribe to this man's channel and subscribe to my channel if you will. It's up to you. But you're with Probe Ricky on the Probe Ricky exclusive YouTube channel with Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist, and I'll catch you on the next one.